Good day, everyone. I am Joe Marcalado, and today I'm going to present to you my system analysis design proposal entitled Integrated Reduction Plant Monitoring System for Emirates Global Aluminum. The content of my proposal are the project overview of existing system, context of the proposed system, objectives of proposed system, scope and limitation of proposed system, requirement analysis, the operational, technical, and schedule, cost of benefits of new systems, and existing system, IPO diagram, software and hardware requirements, context diagram, and data flow diagram, the system flowchart, entity relationship diagram, development, and testing, the SDLC phases, system, system prototype and reports, and the last one is the conclusion. Project overview. In the existing system related to reduction department for the metal and butt measurement, anode current distribution or CD measurement, and same time the process department measurements to implement. The logging book has to submit manually to the respective HOD to seek an approval. Following the manual procedures takes a lot of time and paperwork from senior operator and wasting time from employee to follow up the approval from their immediate superiors. Having an automated system using integrated reduction plant monitoring system, a centralized database where the plant data to be recorded will ease the filing and approval of the request. It also helps to decrease the accumulated paperwork, easier record maintenance handling, and will reduce possible data loss. The proposed system applied to allow employees and the managers for better scheduling of job to be done. As an example, and do necessary planning or replacement if required for work. The objectives of the study. The general objective of the study is to develop the integrated reduction monitoring system portal that will automate the whole process of plant that leads to better scheduling and balancing of the workforce and increased productivity with less downtime. Thus, the implementation of the existing system is too bulky to accommodate and expedite the process of approval critically for the plant supervisor, manager, and for the keeping of accurate data, which sometimes leads to data loss and encountered errors in the records due to manual recording. Aside from this, the replacement scheduling of work to be done is taking longer to finalize. Furthermore, the production processes are getting disturbed due to long wait of approval. The scope of and limitation. The proposed system, integrated reduction plant monitoring system, deals with the data for reduction shop floor, employee, and process department. The system also helps to reduce the time delay facing by reduction and process for the approval of requests of data, as record has to be taken from encoded manual and sum up all the other job to be done. The system will help to calculate the metal and butt to be tapped from the pot. The system limitations, it cannot be undo once data has been submitted unless the HOD from reduction and process will make the editing. The system is fully functional in the networks. The system will fail if the server down, but the data will remain stored in the database of each section. The system will provide four levels of users login. The senior operator, supervisor, HOD, which can access once internet access or Wi-Fi is on and secure with high settings. However, the system is open for future upgrades if required. Requirement analysis. There are four requirement analysis: the operational feasibility, technical feasibility, schedule feasibility, and the economic feasibility. Requirement analysis, first stage in the system engineering process and software development process that encompasses those tasks that go into determining the needs or condition to meet the requirements. Operational feasibility. There are four aspects in operational feasibility: the nature of the operation and installation, speed of operation, security of the system, and the future enhancement. Operational feasibility. The proposed system will help to reduce the workload in organization, saves times, better decision making for manpower allocation, and reduce loss of information as it is a system dependent. During this process, product specification and system constraint should be taken into account. Below are the technical evaluation criteria that needs to be considered in implementing the system. The nature of operation and installation. The users of the system can be easily trained to use a PC. Some technical problem may be encountered will be written by system admin, programmer hired or trained for this purpose. The user cannot necessarily to have technical skills and knowledge to use the system. System installation is very easy, no complex requirements to consider. System configuration is easily available. The second one is the speed of operation. The speed of the internet facility will also be very important factor when determining the speed of access of the system. Availability of the system to use will depend on the availability of the internet facility. However, in some instances that the system shutdown occurs, temporary repository is available to log the current activity done in the system. The system will provide real-time information. The third one is the security of the system. The security aspect will have to be strictly restricted. Users will log into the system using their username and password. Authentication of the user will limit the ability of unsecured login. The second, the system administrators is accordance with the functional policies of the organization. They are in charge to grant the access levels. And since it is platform dependent, the system is very secure and free from any potential viruses. The fourth one is the future enhancement. The system can be updated easily and the users will always experience an up-to-date system. Technical feasibility. The system development is using PHP as the main language due to relatability and popularity fast. An HP embedded web server has been chosen to be the web server due to high reliability and flexibility in between platforms using ISS Internet Information Service. Web deploy handler to allow the system accessible in the web server. My SQL is chosen to be the DBMS of the system due to flexibility. Since UA leads the world in high-speed broadband internet, the proposed system will be developed in a web basis completely. It is required to use the web technologies to build the overall system. The system development is using PHP as the main language due to relatability and popularity fast, and HP embedded web server has been chosen to be the web server due to high reliability and flexibility in between platform and ISS. The server will be installed in isolated server room nearest to the IT group with optimal room temperature with the IT department and nearby HR department office room. For employees who are working in the production area, the facility workstation can install in the pantry room, canteen area, so it will not cause any disturbance of using the system. During break time or waiting hours, schedule feasibility. A project time-based plan, a basis to monitor and control the project progress activities, basis allocate resources to achieve the project goal. Economic feasibility, costs and benefits. Economic visibility, only minimal costs in acquiring the system. There would be least amount for setting up of operating environment needed. As of the computer is already in the use of the process, use of other purpose which maintained by IT department and HR. And the staff is well conversant and familiar with the computer technology. And the system is user-friendly and need minimum data entry from the end users. Thus only minimal training for user as the system is easy to use. The table cost of benefits analysis. To summarize, the total cost of system implementation, again, existing system cost has total sum of 25,000 AED, the amount less than the annual maintenance fees on the first year of installation. For the following year, only cost of maintenance will be charged, and the company has saving cost of 11,000 per year. The IPO diagram. So there are three process in IPO diagram: the input, the process, and the output. Input. Input required action in order to create the required output. The process, the steps in creating the outputs from the inputs. And the output or the result of information wanted to achieve. In input, you can log in username and password, input the request, process, check validity of the request, granting the permission, and the output is a received status of request and the received notification. The software specification. Currently, available web technologies PHP, JSP, servlets, and ASP.NET servers, the HP model, ProLiant DL380 Gen 9, the RAM is 16 GB DDR HD, 8 times 600 GB SAS 12G, the operating system Windows Server 2012. The client to be used for operating system Windows Server 2012 and the DBMS Microsoft SQL 2008. The HP ProLiant DL380 Gen 9 performance server is a dual socket 2U rack server supplies with an 8-core Xeon, the 2.1 GHz processor and 16 GB of DDR4 RAM. What is your server bottleneck? Storage processing expansion. The world's best-selling server just got better. The HPE ProLiant DL380 Gen 9 server delivers the latest performance and expandability, reliability, serviceability, and near continuous availability. Backed by comprehensive warranty, makes it ideal for any server environment. Deploy the data center standard designed to reduce cost and complexity, leveraging the Intel's latest E5 2600 B4 processor with 21% performance gain. hardware specification. We need for hardware specification for touchscreen monitor system, the VGA 800 times 600 or higher resolution monitor, and standalone walk-up chaos. Keyboard and mouse will be alternative. Printer, CPU, and HDD. 8 times 600 GB, SAS 12G, and the power supply unit. The context diagram. System architecture and the system flow. Data flow diagram. DFD of data flow diagram. It is systematized presentation of process data flow that gives understanding to a system developer and user on how the system use and produce information, data, and report entirely work as a whole system. Context diagram. The diagram gives the basic functionality of the RPMS system. The entities here are the employee, HOD, the IT, and system administrator. Each of these entities has individual roles during the process. The employee logs in info, logs into the RPMS system and does the request. Similarity, the HOD can access the request for the employee through application and it may be reject or approve. Then the supervisor can validate and update the records of data requests, where the system administrator will record all the informations done inside the system. Data flow diagram. The DFD, having the context diagram as defined above, the DFD level 1 of IRPMS represents the movement of data between external entities, the process, and the data stores within a system. The system flowchart. System flowchart. This flowchart shows the step-by-step system functions. Step 1, the employee will log in using username and password. After login, will navigate to the IRPMS panel and choose the request he/she may apply. The request will be sent to the HOD. The HOD will approve, reject, and then further send to IT for double checking and update the records. After completion of all the above steps, the employee will receive a notification through his/her mobile or once logged in the system. The entity relationship diagram or the ERD. ERDs show entities in database and relationships between tables within the database. Entities are the things for which we want to store information. An entity is a person, place, things, or event. And attributes are the data we want to collect for an entity. Relationships describe the relation between the entities. Development and testing SDLC phases. The requirement analysis, system design, implementation coding, testing, deployment. System development life cycle, development and testing. In this system, as having discussed the requirements and specification of the IRPMS implementation and having reviewed the different software development methodology below is the most appropriate and better methodology to use. The system will work in the following manner through incremental methodology. The incremental approach. This method uses a set number of steps and development goes from start to finish. Incremental development is done in steps from design, implementation, testing and verification, maintenance. This can be broken down further into sub-steps, but most incremental models follow the same pattern. SDLC phases. Required and specification of software are previously defined. Technical details of implementation system in order to work. Model view controlled architecture, MySQL triggers implementation, MD5 encryption, system installation. What is MVC? Models represents knowledge. A model could be a single object or it could be some structure of objects. Views. A view is a visual representation of its model. It would ordinarily highlight certain attributes of the model and suppress others. It is thus acting a presentation filter. What is C? It's a controllers. A controller is the link between a user and the system. Model HTML, view CSS, controller is the browser. In conclusion, each component is self-executing in that it deals with both the HTTP GET and POST requests. MySQL triggers implementation. In MySQL, a trigger is a set of SQL statement that is invoked automatically when a change is made to the data. A trigger can be defined to be invoked either before and after the data is changed. MySQL allows to define maximum 6 triggers for each table. Before insert, activated before data. After insert, activated after data. Before update, activated before updated. After update, activated after updated. Before delete, activated before remove. After delete, activated after remove. Note, when using statement that makes change to the data on the table but does not use the above character statement, the trigger is not invoked. MD5 encryption, 512-bit. MD5 algorithm was used for passwords encryption. MD5 stands for Message Digest Algorithm 5. It's a widely used cryptographic function. The idea behind this algorithm is to take up a random data, text, or binary as an input to generate a fixed size as the output. The system installation. System installation. The system is developed and tested on a computer running Windows and the HP ProLiant ML expansion optimized server in order for the web application to be accessible via the internet. It will have to install on a web server, Apache, PHP, and MySQL. The web application will be accessible via web browsers. Example is the Mozilla Firefox to be installed on the client machine. The SDL phases. In order to create a relevant use case for the system RPMS, the following characters have been identified. The employee, the head of department, system admin, or the IT department, IT. System design. In the second stage of incremental approach, which is the system analysis and illustrate the step-by-step development of the system, it is preferable to create use case analysis. The use case analysis diagram is a use case, a collection of scenarios which make up behavioral related sequence of interaction that users platform perform in a dialogue with the system. In order to create a relevant use case for this system IRPMS, the following characters have been identified. The employee, head of department, the IT department. Use case diagram for the employee or the operator, the login, punch in, view request, input data, punch out, log out. For the HOD, the login, punch in, view data, check the status, reject, approve, punch out, log out, and use case diagram for HR or the IT, the login, view data, punch in, create, add, generate, punch out, filter, reject, and approve. The dashboard to be added in the system, the employee profiles, employee numbers, department, position, designation, trainings, notifications, history and plan, and the tracking data. Coding of software is done during this stage. Coding of software in the system is the pseudocode, log in into the system. Start up system, enter username and password on clicking the login button, connection to the database. You can add a user, new user, apply for requests. Once the system is deployed, it goes through the testing phase, black box. Testing phase, black box. Testing is a method of software testing that examines the functionality of an application without peering into the internal structure of working. This method of test can be applied virtually to every level of software testing, unit integration, system and acceptance. Below is the process needed to test the functionality of the system. Confirmation testing, regression testing, the test plans and results. Confirmation testing. Confirmation testing or retesting. When a test fails because of the defect, then the defect is reported and a new version of the software is expected to has or had to be fixed. In this case, we need to execute the test again to confirm that whether the defect got actually fixed or not. It is important to ensure that the test is executed in exactly the same way it was using the same inputs, data, and environments. The regression testing. To retest the functionality with other software. Regression testing. During confirmation, testing the defect got fixed and that part of application started working as intended, but there might be a possibility that the fix may have introduced an uncovered different defect in the software. The way to detect this of fixes or bugs, this is to be regression testing. The purpose of regression testing is to test and verify the modification in the software or effects in the system still meets its requirements. Regression testing are mostly automated because in order to fix the defects, the same test is carried out again and again, and it will be very tedious to do it manually. Regression tests are executed whether the software changes, either as a result of fixes or new change functionality. Regression testing is a form of software testing that confirms or denies a software functionality after the software undergoes changes. The term regression actually means the act of reverting back to a previous state. Regression testing is a type of functional testing that checks for issues that are introduced by new additions or updates to the code base. Tests and plans and results. The test is done in accordance with the requirements and specification of the system. Test plans and results. The test plan is derived from the requirements, functional specification, and detailed login specification. The test plan identifies the details of tests, identifying the associated test case areas within the product. Test case, the login. Test purpose, check username, password, and test condition, it is user details are not correct, display error message. 2. The add user. Test purpose, to ensure that a new user is added to the system successfully. Test condition, if user already exists in the system, error message should be displayed. Actual result, if email address entered already exists in the system. Test case 3, the edit or personal details. Test case 4, apply requests. Test 5, view notification. Test 6, approve, disapprove the data. And 7, generate reports. System prototype. User login screen. This is the system user login screen that I have made for the Emirates Global Aluminum. You can see here the name of the company. Uh, you enter your employee number and you enter your password designated to you. Employee interface details. Here you can see your details upon logging in. You can see here your last name, middle name, nationality, when you're hired, your department, and screen for data interface. Here you can see whatever whatever data you want to enter. The reports for, you can see here the reports, uh, your name, employee number, which line you are working, which room, which section you are working, which date, which shift, what is the amperage of the line, what tools you use, what meter tools you use, the measurement you have got, the pattern operation you are functioning, and the employee profile. This is the reports already. You can see here the reports of the employee, and employee safety form for safety purposes. In conclusion, the main purpose of creating the integrated reduction plant monitoring system is to provide faster employee services and online access to various information of the employees within a proper security mechanism, to provide faster notifying requests and important notices within the organization, to provide flexibility and fastest decision making within the organization, to have a high performing organization because of the technology effectiveness, to minimize redundant work of plant and other department. Hence, the proposed system IRPMS will aim to overcome the problem of employee operators and the management and the managing and planning of their daily activities. Thank you so much.